Hello everyone, the amazing people of Glastonbury, episode 5. And today I've got with me June Greenway. June is a very dear friend. She's also the registrar for South Somerset and Mendip. And June is also an extremely talented photographer. We met last year at the Georgian Pilgrim.
Yes, we did.
David introduced us.
We did.
And June has been one of my favourite people ever since, because you'll never see June without a great big smile on her face.
You haven't seen me first thing in the morning, my darling. I have a cup that says, "Do I look like a morning person?"
And genuinely, June always has the best advice, and I always value your insights. So June, tell us a little bit about, as a registrar, you register births, deaths and marriages, which are always key points in people's lives, which means you've been there, you've held space for a lot of people in a lot of special ways. What's that taught you the most about people, like as a collective, about like society and humans?
A lot, actually. One of the things is I'm not the only registrar in this area. I think there's about 15 of us altogether throughout the whole area. But it's taught me mainly that you never meet two people who are exactly the same. They're always so different. What we do is exactly the same.
Yeah.
Every person that comes in, whether it's a birth or a marriage or a death, whatever it is you're doing, the questions we ask never change, ever. But the response from the public, from the people who come in, is never the same. Yeah. You never know who's going to walk through your door. You never know how they're going to react, what they're going to say. And they're mostly quite surprising. You meet the most genuine people. You meet one or two who are quite not so genuine. But mainly, people come in with expectations of one thing and go out with a completely different view of it, which is
completely different outlook.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting the way that people react to the different events in their lives. Some people react really well, some people react not quite so well.
It's one of those things though, isn't it? Because like, even in your mind you think, oh, if that ever happened, I would never know how to deal with it. And then when it does happen, it either feels incredibly calm and almost like you've been preparing for it for a while, or just so surreal that like it's almost like you're not actually fully there.
I think that happens more when someone's passed away.
Yeah.
Because quite often it's the first time, particularly if it's a parent that's passed away, it may be the first time that the offspring have had to do anything like this.
Yeah.
And they don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
They have no idea. And they very often, they come in and they're hunched up, the shoulders are up, and they're terrified. They have no idea what to expect.
It's an anxiety-causing process. Yeah.
And then it's our job as registrars to guide them through this and make sure that it's all done and that it's not as dreadful as they thought it was going to be. And one of the nicest things that's ever been said to me is when I was being assessed by our county registrar, and she said it was a pleasure to watch you work because a young girl had come in to register the death of her grandma. And this poor girl, she was really, obviously, devastated that her grandma died. And she came in and her shoulders were all hunched up. But as the interview went, you could see her relaxing and relaxing and relaxing. And when she left with a smile and her shoulders were right down. And for me, I felt, job done. Because something that she had dreaded with every fibre of her being wasn't as bad as she thought it was going to be.
Yeah. So you bring comfort to like these really huge momentous moments. Like even with births, I can imagine you must have parents coming and going like, I'm a parent now. I'm responsible for another being.
That's incredible. That is incredible. But the thing that is overwhelming when they come in is that we didn't realise how much longer it was going to take us to get ready. Now we have a baby.
It's Sorry, I'm late.
Sorry,
I
I'm
had
late.
to get ready 3 times.
Oh my goodness me. We didn't realise how long it takes us to get the baby dressed and get the baby in the pram or in the car seat and then into you and then out of the car seat into the buggy and into the building. And it's, oh my God, we're used to just slinging on our coat, picking up our bag and going. And now we have this little bundle that we are responsible for, and we have to bring this bundle with us. And, and oh yeah, life has changed. And it gives me a great deal of pleasure to say, yes, but it's changed now forever.
Yeah.
This is not just a little while. This is for the rest of your lives. Your life is never going to be yours again.
Yeah.
And it's lovely. It's lovely.
But what a blessing, it's like we were talking about earlier. You become the future generation, and then it's your job to impart your wisdom and guidance to the younger ones. And that's such a huge honour as well.
It is. It is.
Like there's-
One of the hugest honours I had was about 15 months ago. Registered baby, mum and dad, proud as punch of their new little bundle. And they said, "You look like a responsible person. Will you hold our baby and let us take a picture of you?" And then they emailed it to me, because what they were doing is they were getting a memory box for when their baby had been born,
Yeah.
and they wanted to put the picture of the day that they registered this little bundle into her memory box.
Memory box. This is the lady that registered
This
you.
is the lady that registered you. And I was so chuffed, because we very seldom, I've been doing this job for 4 years, and I've only ever held 2 babies. And one was mum, and she said, "Oh, I need to get something out of my bag. Can you just hold the baby?" And it was so sweet, because she obviously
Grab that a
trusted
moment,
me
yeah.
to say, "Just hold my baby." And she was lovely. She was lovely. But then you have other things when you're doing like marriages. One of the nicest things that I had was taking a notice of marriage, and this poor lady, they were getting married, and it was the last day that she could give notice so that she would meet the marriage date. And bless her, she was waiting for some paperwork to come through, because she'd been married before, and she'd been racing around following the postman around the village to see if he had this paperwork for her, because where she was getting it from had sent it before and it had not been delivered, and it was all a big saga. But she left. I did my job. She did her notice. She threw her arms, shocked me as she was going out the door. She just threw her arms around me and gave me a hug. But then I went into my next appointment, didn't think anything more of it.
Yeah.
And then I got a phone call from the reception area of where I was working to say, "Could you come out when you finish?" Or an email, "Could you come out when you finished?" And this darling lady had been off and bought me some flowers and brought them back and put them in the reception just to say thank you for helping her, when I felt that all I was doing was my job. And it was such a lovely, kind gesture for her to do. And this is why I say what we do is a process. To us, we ask the same things. It's the same every appointment. But people's reaction is always
Different.
surprising.
You always see the heart of people, don't you? Because it's always like a heartfelt situation that you find yourself in. It's almost like being the controller of a roller coaster, because you know where the ups and downs and dips are, but you're guiding people through it.
Yes, it's exactly like that.
Yeah.
And you never know. And although your diary, you can look at your diary the day before and think, okay, I've got this, and this tomorrow. Yeah, that should be this. And then you get in there, and although the appointment is there, the people are very often so different. You have no idea what they're going to be like. On the whole, they're lovely. I have to say, on the whole, people are genuinely really nice. And you hear so much in the world, don't you, about horrible people, horrible things. But generally, I would say probably 99.9% of the people we see are genuinely nice people.
Oh, that's
It's so good.
beautiful.
It's so good.
As well as being a registrar, you're also an incredibly talented photographer. How long have you been taking photos for?
I've snapped most of my life, but actually looking at photography and what I can do with it, it's probably about 4 years.
That's brilliant.
It's very kind of you to say that I'm very talented.
You really are, though.
It's your opinion, darling.
Please remind me of your page on Facebook. So you've got a photography page on Facebook that everyone could go and check out.
Sneaky. It's a moment in time.
A Moment in Time by June Greenway. No, because genuinely, like the way you capture images, it's like you really do. You get the best perspective, and sometimes you take a picture of something that I've walked past 100 times, but I'd never think to stop and look at it from the angle you've shot it at. And I think it really does take a special way of looking at the world to capture things the way that you do.
That's very kind of you, but it's more often luck than judgment. It's just happened. I look up sometimes though and think, oh, wonder if that would work. And I just take the picture and then wait and see if it works, because sometimes it does and sometimes you think, okay, that's not what I was expecting it to be like. But I like the live events. I've like something that I love taking pictures of the carnival.
Yeah.
And I'm really sad that we're not having a carnival this year.
Are we not?
No,
Is it
because of the COVID.
Yeah.
When the
Frost Fair's been cancelled.
the carnival, the people that make the floats, from the little tiny tots to the enormous floats, they put so much effort into that. They are incredible craftspeople, and I admire it so much, because I'd never even be able to think about how they come up with this. And every year, every single year, I've lived in this area now for 16 years, and every year I am amazed at the ideas that the people come up with.
Yeah.
And it's from the people who have the original ideas to the people who say, well, okay, how are we going to get this tractor to pull this float in? How are we going to get these things to work? And or how many lights are we going to need? And who's going to design the costumes and the makeup? And so to come down and photograph that in November is a privilege, really. It's an incredible thing to see.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I've seen the photos from last year's one. It truly is. They put a lot of love into it, and they are so good at, like, when they have to hold the positions, they hold them so well. They're completely static, and I mean, to hold the expressions, and it really is out of this world.
It is. And I've been fascinated with this. I went to my very first carnival in 1977, at North Petherton, when Star Wars had just been released. And some of them had done the tableaus of Star Wars, and it was absolutely bitter the night we were there. It was perishing. And still, they hadn't moved and in this tableau of the Star Wars float. It's incredible.
Yeah.
But I admire them, because these are all amateur people.
Yeah.
These are people who give up their free time, and, you know, they must, when they do it, it takes them a whole year.
Yeah.
Because one carnival is over, and as I understand it, whoever is doing it then starts planning, well, okay, this one's gone, let's start next year's.
Next year's planning.
And
oh, well, it just means next year's is going to be
extra special.
Quadruple as special.
It will be. It will be. Because
everyone will be looking forward
because
to
everybody
it.
that's involved in carnival, I've known one or two people that I've worked with who've been involved in carnival, it's their passion.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It's a weird year this year when you think about it that way, because things like Beltane, which is always so big,
Yeah.
and the summer solstice, which is so big, and the Glastonbury festival, and everyone must be feeling a bit lost in Glastonbury. I've not felt it quite as much because I've just moved here, but I'm sure that a lot of people are sort of scratching their heads and going, especially for a town where, like, these big things really bring people together.
They do. And I think that it is odd, and I think a lot of people are struggling with it.
Yeah.
Because we're all being asked to react in ways that are not natural.
Yeah.
You know, you're not having the interactions where you normally see somebody and you just go and give them a hug.
Yeah.
Now you're seeing them and you're saying them, hi, how are you? I bumped into Dave Beach in the high street today.
Yeah.
And we
I
said,
just wanted to give him a big
hi,
old hug. Yeah.
how are you? But we stayed away.
Yeah.
We stayed that distance. And
which isn't,
and it's not a natural thing for us to do as human beings. It's not what we do. We're social creatures.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably harder for the people who actually live in Glastonbury.
Because hug is such a big, like, touch is such a huge love language. It's one of the main ones.
Absolutely.
That people who just want, like, connection,
Yeah.
suddenly you feel a bit cut off.
And you do. And at this time when lots of people actually want comfort.
Yeah.
And you can't give that human comfort.
Yeah.
you know. And I was in a shop in Yeovil a few days ago, and it epitomises what's up with the world at the moment. There wasn't a one-way system, but I went up around an aisle and there was a lady there and she froze. She went like this. She didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And it was so sad. And I thought, I'm in a hurry. I understand your need, but I just made the decision. I turned around and went the other way.
Yeah.
Because she didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And how many people are feeling like that? And I think for a town like Glastonbury that is so tactile,
Yeah.
and so full of, you know, lots and lots and lots of people who are kind and giving and loving, to suddenly not be able to interact in that same way, it must be absolutely terrifying
Yeah.
and really, really hard.
I'm anxious. I'm not anxious, but like I don't know how it's going to be next week, where you walk into a shop, even in Glastonbury, and everyone's masked. It's going to be so bizarre.
Because your face
Expression. It's all
says
here.
what's going on inside, doesn't it?
Yeah. And you're just going to feel cut off. In a way, I think walking around seeing people in masks is going to be weirder than walking around seeing the high street empty.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think so too. But it's one of those difficult things, isn't it? Do we do it to, if we are not giving off anything and nobody else is giving off anything, do we contain this? Or is it not actually effective?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer.
No,
All
in a
I know
way
is it's
like,
all odd and not natural.
yeah. In a way, it's like we have to sacrifice our own comfort and like put ourselves in that uncomfortable situation of wearing a mask to make everyone else feel safe.
Yeah.
Like, because then it's just a way of saying to everyone that it's okay. Like it's sort of like an understanding. Like it's okay. We know this is happening. We're all just complying to the rules.
Yes. But it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because I don't know if it will give comfort or if it will give fear.
Yeah.
Because will it give comfort that everybody is masked, therefore you are as safe as we can make you?
Yeah.
Or does it say, oh my goodness me, you think there's something wrong with me that I have to hide myself?
Exactly.
And is that engendering fear? Are you safe?
Yeah.
Are you not safe?
Yeah.
I know that I think that I'm safe,
Yeah.
but what about you? But the thing that worries me most about that is what that might do to our children. What do they think about not being able to? Because when children see you, they can see your eyes, but it's your face that they read. They know from your face.
Yeah, from your smile
if they
or
can
your
approach you.
Yeah, your facial expression.
And that worries me. And that comes back to my registration, actually.
Yeah.
I was doing a baby, because we just started doing them after the lockdown. Had a couple in last week with their new baby. Well, she was 3 months old, and their toddler. And as I walked away, the baby gave me a smile.
Oh.
And Dad said, I said, oh, is that a smile for me? And Dad said, oh, he said, you won't get a smile out of this one. And I just turned around and I winked at this little girl. And she did. She gave me a beaming smile. And Dad said, she doesn't smile for anybody.
Anyway, yeah. What's
I
going
don't
on?
know how you got a smile out of her. So, but it's that face. If I'd had a mask on,
She wouldn't have seen. Yeah.
she wouldn't have seen that.
Yeah.
And would she be thinking that there's something, you don't know how children think.
Yeah, and that's human connections. It's moment to moment. And if you cut yourselves off like that,
Yeah,
it's taking away humanity.
it is indeed. But on a strange note, when I get my suntan, I don't want marks on it. Sorry, very facetious of me. You know me, Ria, I can't be serious for very long.
It's okay, neither can I.
It's why we connected, you see. It's these human connections. It's this weird sense of humour.
June, what's your favourite thing about photography?
I don't think it's the big things. I think it's the little things.
Capturing moments in time.
Capturing little moments in time. But for me, those moments I've changed. I've tried doing the great big scenes and everything. But something that I've learned that I like more is the macro photography. It's the more
Artistic.
arty stuff, if you like. Something that I've learned how to do is to take little seed heads and put little drops of water on them and take those up close. And I like that photography. But I also like the fun photography, like when you're throwing bits of orange and lemons and limes into a bowl of water and just watching it splash all up everywhere. That's quite good fun. But I like capturing that. I think that is actually a moment in time, because it will never come again, because if you throw another piece of fruit in there,
it won't.
the water won't
way.
react in the same way.
Yeah.
And I think I like it because it's messy.
Which is always
I have a very clean floor when I do that. The kitchen floor is normally awash with water. It's quite messy. And there was one lot that I did with wine glasses on string and everything, or fishing wire and everything else, with food dye, and we had to repaint the ceiling because it splashed and it went all over the kitchen ceiling, and I have blue splashes of food colouring all over my kitchen ceiling. That was quite good fun.
It's a story to tell when you've got guests around and they go, oh, there's blue sauce on your ceiling. You go,
Yes.
no, that was from the time
When you were
I was
doing
taking...
But it's nice because I've actually got my grandson interested in that, and we did some in the garden where we were bursting balloons and taking photographs. So
That was brilliant.
So
that was your
quite good fun.
lockdown birthday.
yes, we set up balloons in the garden and a needle on the
having
end
some
of a
fun.
knitting needle, poking it at a distance so that it splashed everywhere. That was quite good fun.
Yeah, but we see everyone's having to find like new ways to try and celebrate quietly, or like, you know, within your bubble.
Yes.
Stay within your bubble.
And it was a balloon in a bubble. But I think, whilst I love taking pictures of here, I mean, I've done some this week. We got up to see a comet, which we didn't see, but we did see the dawn in the pre-dawn from Weary All Hill over the Tor and the mists, and it's the thing that makes this place so special, because it was magical to see the mist rolling in over the levels towards the town and towards the base of the Tor. It was like an
engulfing the
ocean
trees.
coming in.
Yeah.
And you could just see tops of the trees through the mist. It's a magical place.
It really is. It's like a dream, and like we were talking about earlier, you really can imagine Merlin sailing in on a ship,
Yes.
like bringing the knights and Arthur in for recovery at the Tor, because originally that was the story of Glastonbury, as the Isle of Glass, as they brought Arthur here to heal
Yes.
after his battle.
Absolutely. And of course, Weary All Hill with Joseph of Arimathea coming here. So that was it was actually quite magical on Sunday morning to be up there, because it was pre-dawn, the sun hadn't come up, so everything was in silhouette.
Still, yeah.
And still, nothing was moving, but the mist was still rolling in, and it really was like you were completely isolated from the rest of the world.
Yeah, it's like stepping back into time almost.
Yes. And the only thing that sort of spoilt it were you knew that you were in the 21st century because you had the streetlights. But if you hadn't had the streetlights, you could have been in any time in history.
Yeah.
And it was truly magical up there. And at the time, there were only 3 of us on the hill. As we left, once the sun had come up and people had started getting up, more people started walking up there. But when we were up there at 3:30, there were only us and one other person up there. So 3 people up there, and that's all. And it was totally silent. No traffic, no birds even, because it was before the birds started twittering. Yeah. It was truly, truly magical to be up there.
I suppose that's part of what makes sunrise and sunset such a reflective time. I've never thought about it that way, but it's true. It's the silence that you get.
It's the silence. And for me, I think sunrise is even more magical than sunset, because although you may not get the drama in the sky quite so much,
it's a new beginning.
It's a new beginning, and it's totally silent, and the whole day is before you.
Yeah.
You have no idea what that day is going to bring. You might think you do, but actually you don't.
Yeah, it's a moment for you to sort of breathe and go, I'm going to do this today.
Yeah, and I've got a new beginning today.
Yeah.
And it's true what they say, every day is a new beginning,
beginning.
because it's a new page. You might think you know what's going to be written on that page, but actually, until you go to bed that night, you have no idea what's going to be on that page.
Yeah.
Like today, doing this.
It's beautiful. It's such a lovely way of looking at it. How long have you been living in Glastonbury, June?
In the area, 16 years.
16 years. And what's your favourite thing about Glastonbury as a town?
It has to be, like everybody says, it has to be the people. It's the people that make this town. Although I have to say my favourite shop has gone, but...
Seeing the high street change, like seeing the faces in the shops come and go must be interesting as well.
It is. And
So,
generally, the people who come in are really nice people.
yeah.
There's something about this
amazing
place.
stories.
It draws nice people. And it's nice. And there are some really lovely people in Glastonbury.
Yeah.
It's one of those places. I don't think I'd actually live anywhere else now.
No, it's really difficult once you've been to, because Glastonbury is so open and accepting, and I know there's the whole like, oh, normal for Glastonbury thing, but then when you go other places where it's not quite as open, you feel like, oh, I have to act normal now.
Normal? What's
What
normal?
do you mean?
Would you please, you know,
What do
give
you
me some
mean I
meaning
can't
to
wear
that?
10 colours and no shoes?
I don't know that I want to wear no shoes, but there you go.
What do you mean nobody's having a group hug on the high street? Surely.
Is that something you do that anyway? Does that happen? Something you'd like to confess here? But I do. I think that is it. I think it is. It's the people that make this place,
Yeah.
and that's
agree with
all.
you.
That's all the people, regardless of where your views are.
Yeah.
I think it is, and also what I really like about it is it's a small town. It's not big. It's not urban. It's not overrun. It's not terribly busy. I know it's busy when the tourists come in, but like the ordinary
Generally.
everyday,
Yeah.
there's no rat race here,
Yeah.
and I think that's what I like about it.
People look out for each other in Glastonbury. Like on the high street, you'll have people asking each other how they are and like genuinely
And genuinely
helping
meaning
each other. Yeah.
It's not
That's
just
a
oh, how are
beautiful
you?
thing.
It's how are you?
Yeah.
It's the emphasis is different, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
And I think it's what draws a lot of people here actually.
Definitely. 'Cause that's something that I've found in Glastonbury that you don't necessarily find everywhere else.
No, when you
It's a
came,
genuine concern. Yeah.
I don't think you'd have been perhaps quite as happy if you hadn't lived here when you
Yes.
came over from Kenya.
Oh, I don't think I'd have lived anywhere else. I think I'd never have been able to live anywhere but Kenya other than Glastonbury, because Glastonbury's got the same community spirit as Kenya, if not stronger, because Glastonbury's smaller and so you know more people, but it's still got that sort of nurturing energy. It's like a group hug vibe all the time.
All the time, and that's what we need.
Yeah.
We need more of it,
Yeah.
actually. Everywhere we need more of this.
Yeah.
Instead of the me vibe that you get from lots of places.
Glastonbury says, what about you? What do
Yes.
you need? Yeah.
Do you need it too?
Yeah.
Let me help you.
Yeah.
Whereas in lots of places and lots of cities, that's not there.
No. I mean, in London you can go days without actually having a real conversation or eye contact with people.
It's true.
Whereas and some people like it. Like I've had conversations with people who live in Glastonbury who go, but sometimes I go to London and it's nice to not have to really connect with people. It's nice to have like the shopkeeper not even look at you when you're paying for your things. But it's anonymity. But
Yes, I
think,
suppose sometimes you can be overwhelmed with
Yeah.
too much connection.
yeah,
And perhaps that's why they like it when they go there, because it just gives them time to recharge their batteries
Yeah.
instead of everybody's batteries.
yeah.
That doesn't really make much sense, but
I know what you mean. It's like time to go within and not have to check up on everyone
Yes.
around you.
not have to think about others.
Yeah.
Just for a little while, you can just concentrate on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But on the whole, though, it is really nice to have that human connection, because we are, ultimately, we're social animals.
We're social beings.
Yeah, we are indeed.
So, last question of the interview is, if you could speak for Glastonbury collectively and pass on a message to the rest of the world from the heart of Avalon, what would your message be?
Be kind, because there's not enough kindness in this world.
And you can never have too much
And
kindness.
you can't have too much kindness, you can't have too much kindness, you can't have too much compassion. And I think Glastonbury has that in
Oodles,
Oodles.
which is what makes it sparkle.
Which is what makes it sparkle, yeah. But that's the message that I would say. You need to be kind. And you need to be gentle with yourself. And you also need to have the confidence to be yourself. And I think you can do that here.
Yes. Glastonbury is definitely allowing. It allows people.
Yes.
Which is why I suppose so many people transform so much when they come to Glastonbury, because suddenly they think, oh, I can be who I am and nobody's going to laugh, nobody's going to judge me.
No, and you can believe in yourself here. And so often when you're not in that sort of nurturing environment, you don't always believe in yourself. You believe the negativity about yourself. Whereas here somebody says, well, try it.
Yeah.
If you don't try, you don't know.
Yeah. If you don't, exactly.
And you're allowed to do that. And I think...
And if you try it and it doesn't work out, we'll scoop you back up and you can try again.
Yeah. And you can try it. Yeah. And you can keep trying.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to think ill of you. You don't have to have this, oh my goodness me, I've got my penthouse and I've got this and I've got that. There are more values that you need. And I think Glastonbury has that. And I think that's what we need to say to the world. You need more of this.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you so much, June. That was a brilliant interview. I really loved that. And thank you on behalf of everyone who's going to listen on later. That was wonderful.